Guys, we have an exciting little panel here today, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to introduce Christian to you. He's new to the organization, but he's doing some really impactful things. Gary a while ago wrote a blog about the Latino narrative and telling our stories and how, the media always says that we're thugs and immigrants and all the, undocumented, all this stuff. And I think we all have pretty similar stories in here. My parents were undocumented. I know many of yours were undocumented. We're first generation, trying to do the best we can, contributing to the United States of America, right? Building businesses. And I think it's important to get these stories out there. So I'm hoping as Christian talks today, I have the direction of where I want to take him, but maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. He's kind of just kind of shoots from the hip a little bit, right? What's interesting is this is Christian's first event in NARA, okay? He's the regional partner. He just signed up. And people are coming up to me saying, Alex, have you met Christian? Have you met Christian? Like, this guy's getting around. He's like really making connections, which is exactly what we want in the NARP organization. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Christian, first of all, thank you for being here. I'm excited to get your story out there, and I'm going to take you way back. And I want you to tell me a little bit about your upbringing, where you're from, some of the struggles you went through, and kind of that early childhood days.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. Super excited to have a blast these last days, right? Thank God I'm flying out today, because I don't know if I can have another night like yesterday, a lot. But yeah, this is truly a Latina success story. And when I say Latina success story, it's mi tia, my great aunt. I was raised in Brownsville, Texas, RGP, right? So at 7 years old, my parents decided they had somewhere else to go, and I was raised by a tia who was a cafeteria worker. We cleaned hotel rooms at night, and she told me, hey, mijo, hasta los 18, you have till 18. That's all I could give you, right? And I realized then that the power of real estate, right? Because that freaking Santa Claus missed our house a couple of times, right? So I knew maybe if I give him a couple of addresses when I get older, he won't miss it, right? So the idea of accumulation and wealth in real estate probably started and prompted from there. And when I say that this is a Latina story, Latina success story, because as you know, como Latinos, they're the ones that really run the show, right? Así de fácil. And so with my aunt, one of the things that she always said, la educación, education, right? We'll figure it out. A lot of people say, hey, how did you get to Stanford? I did my undergrad and grad school at Stanford.
I love how he just drops that in, by the way. It's like Stanford, right?
And I tell him, well, the reason why, man, we don't have air conditioning. I mean, you guys lived in Brownsville? It's freaking hot. So I would go to the library because it has free AC. And then if you stay there long enough, they give you free lunch, right? You stay there longer, then there's probably free dinner. So I became a nerd really quickly because of the AC stuff, right? So I was very, very fortunate enough to have a very strong Latina presence, right? That said, no te rajes, that's the main thing, right? And she told me about a lot of other stuff I can't say. But in other words, just because where you come from, it doesn't define where you're going to go, right? And I was mentioning this over lunch, right? And I've been very fortunate to have really, really good relationships that I acquired through school that have propelled me in my career. And I think the reason why is that I never allowed my poverty to define me, right? Due to the fact because I was brought up with a good value system. No le pedía nada a nadie, right? And it's very simple. Hey, you want to go out? Well, I got $2, bro. That's it. 50-cent beers, I'm in. No, yo te la pago. I'll pay for you now, man. Because the moment you pay for me, you own. That was the way that my tia brought me up, right? And so I was very, very fortunate enough. I call it a Latina story, a success story, because that's what it was. Do you want me to just continue?
No. It's all right. So it's interesting. I want you guys to start to identify some characteristics, some similarities in your stories and stories that Christian's going to be sharing here today. So you go through adolescence, so to speak, because of a tia, and then you must have had this spark inside of you that said, I want to do more. I want to make more. I want to improve my life. I want to live that American dream, right? Like so many Latinos here, right? Like my parents came, built a business, built for their family. when did that spark start to happen in you? When did you start to realize that there's haves, have-nots, and push you into, attending Stanford?
Well, I think growing up in that type of state, it gives you a front row seat, right? That the world's not perfect. The banking system is not perfect, right? It's not built for us as Latinos, right? And so I really started finding purpose. I don't know how many of you, I know for me, I was the one that would run to the Mavericks. I don't know, they had that in Brownsville to fill out the money orders so I could pay the rent, right? I was the one that would have to write the light bills, right? The money orders for the light bills. So I started immediately, there's a huge disconnect, right? In the way the financial systems are built and the way that us Latinos are growing up. And then you could actually, make that even bigger if you're a business owner, right? Because as business owners, sometimes most Latino business owners are more cash heavy, right? Maybe don't have the right financial documentation. So there's a huge disconnect in that regards. So after coming out of Stanford, I got into investment banking and private equity, and was very fortunate to have 2 successful exits in my career, right?
I want to highlight real quick that we're bringing him out of retirement, folks, and we're very fortunate because he's successfully retired twice. And how old are you?
I'm 46.
All right, I didn't mean to put you on blast there, but he's 46 years old, successfully retired twice, and he's going to tell us about that in just a second. But I also want you to address the reason, because we had a conversation about this, the reason you decided to get back and start to give and help.
Yeah, well, let me take a step back, and I think it's important for you guys to know the overall evolution, right? When I started my wealth management business, right, I wanted to get as far away from who I was and who I was brought up, right? Yes, I joined the country club, got suits made, drove the fancy car, because I found that if the farther I got away from it, they're not going to know where I came from, right? And I carried that with me. And so when I was 36 years old, they offered me a check, and I said, "Fuga, vámonos," right? Give me that check, and I moved to Scottsdale, played a lot of golf, traveled around with my family, ended up living in Hawaii. And I was living in Hawaii maybe after a couple of Mai Tais, and I say this story. I'm not a big Facebook person, but I got on Facebook and I said, "Comunidad Latina, si ustedes necesitan ayuda buscando un banco, aquí estoy." So I said, Latino community, if you are looking for a bank, let me help you, right? I shut it off, probably opened it up 2 weeks later, and I had 600 responses. Well, I said, well, this is a for-profit business, right? And I realized that. But I think that was a genesis when I started accepting who I was, right? And that there was a still lacking of that I needed to help my people, right? And so a big part of, then there was another business there that I sold, but a big part of me coming back is I feel that there is so much unresolved, right? That for me personally, of helping our community just because of the huge disconnect. And I don't want my kids to grow up thinking that Latino has a negative connotation. Porque somos chingones.
We can applaud that.
Simple as that, right? And so I never want my children to think of Latino in a negative connotation, maybe as sometimes I felt, right? Or maybe some of us have felt. So that was a huge genesis of it. And the other one, I'm not gonna lie, it's the economics of it, right? If we look at Latino businesses across the United States, we are over-indexed in every positive category. When I say over-indexed, fastest growing segment of Latinas. Latinas are creating more businesses in the United States than anyone, right? So that's great. We have more gazelle businesses. You know what gazelle businesses are? Gazelle businesses are doing net revenues, a net income of more than $1 million, right? Super awesome as Latinos. I showed a chart over lunch, and it's a chart of the United States that shows the growth of Latino businesses across the country. And it's not the usual suspects anymore. It's not Texas, it's not Florida, California, Arizona. Now we're seeing 140% growth in North Dakota. We're seeing 42% growth in Maryland. Oye, papa, we're not that dumb, right? Like, we got to figure this out. We are growing in just about every single state. And so for me, going back is realizing the economics, one, that I could do more. And if we don't do it, someone else is going to do it. Simple as that. So me joining NAREP was a little selfishly, right? Because you guys, as real estate agents, hold the key to my TAM. You guys know what TAM is, my target accessible market, which is Latino business owners, right? And so that I congratulate you for. So when I had an opportunity to build this lending program at Live Oak Bank.
Hold up, you're getting ahead of us here. Hold up a second.
All right.
I want you to go back because we were having a conversation yesterday about why you came back, and you're only supporting really two organizations,
Correct.
LBAN and NAREP. You guys know who, I'll let him explain who LBAN is here in just a second. But you said there was a specific verbiage that you read, and I want you to address that a little bit because I think that's important to kind of share.
Yeah, talking about Gary's blogs, I was a big admirer of Gary from afar, living in Hawaii, really didn't know much about NAREP. And then when the creation of the Hispanic Wealth Project, when I put together my business plan for Live Oak Bank, I spoke about two things: access to capital, right? And what? Bridging the wealth gap. Very simple. We have two objectives as Latinos, right? The access to capital is easy, right? How would you put money into Latinos' hands? You guys are doing a big part of it already through home lending, but now how do we do it to the business side? Because esos son los cabrones, those are the ones that are growing, right? And then two is bridging the wealth gap, and we just had a conversation back there. When you have money, it doesn't matter what color you are. The doors open up for you. So us as Latinos need to help bridge that wealth gap, right? So I actually stole those two little pair sentences in mine, and I put that into my business plan. And our CEO is like, let's go, right? He's like, I love this. So as I chose two organizations to do it, one was NAREP. And I say this sincerely, and I'm very proud to be here, due to the fact that this is the easiest, most direct path to creating wealth in our community.
And you can applaud that too.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Simple as that. I was a hypocrite because I'm selling stocks and bonds, right? That's how I retired, right? And here I am, my portfolio was comprised of commercial real estate and rental properties. And I'm telling people to go invest in stocks and bonds. So I had to do a mental switch, right? And now I'm a believer, let's put it that way, that the easiest path to wealth creation is real estate, right? And you guys have done a very, very phenomenal job in doing it.
I love that two people applauded. The rest of you guys can applaud that too. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, no, it is super cool, guys. I mean, you guys are part of the answer already. So in talking to one of the agents outside, she's like, Christian, I have a client, but he already has 5 rental properties. But he also owns a business. He owns a distribution business. I'm like, now we need to start owning some commercial property, right? And I think that was a big genesis of me working with Live Oak Bank. You want me to get into that? How?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I say this story. I was my second.
Hold on. Tell us about LBAN really quick.
Okay.
So everybody knows, and then we'll get into that. All right.
LBAN is the other organization was LBAN. It's a Latino Business Association network. Is tied to Stanford, and basically it was created about 10 years ago by Dr. Porras and actually Phil Pompa, who's from San Antonio. And the reason being, we wanted to put the stamp of Stanford on research, on Latino research, right? And so it is an ecosystem of a lot of successful Latino businesses across the United States, right? And that's the other organization that I'm affiliated with, is to providing working capital in their hands.
I love that. Okay, now we're going to get into the money part. How do you bridge that gap? How do you create access to capital?
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about what it is you do. Tell me about your bank.
Correct.
And how it can benefit everybody that's out here.
Oh, absolutely. So this is the exciting part, guys. My second exit was a consulting company that I created that was actually bought out by a bank. And from there, I realized, hey, there's a lot of power in the SBA loan program, right? Es que no nos dicen todo. They never tell you everything. So I'm in Florida with my daughter. She plays softball. We're in a national tournament. My phone's blowing up. It's from North Carolina. I looked at my wife. Hey, do we owe money to someone in North Carolina or what? Like, you just keep on calling and calling. And it was actually Chip Mahan, which is a CEO, chairman of Live Oak Bank. For those of you guys that do not know, Live Oak Bank is the #1 SBA lender in the country. We did $1 billion of SBA lending last year, right? So this is the top dog, right? So he calls me up. He's like, hey, I want to get into this Latino thing. Good for you, man. I want to invite you to Wilmington, North Carolina. So I go to Wilmington, North Carolina. We're a branchless bank. And I say we have no branches. We do have 9 planes flying around because we do go meet all our clients. So when I go meet there, I was very inspired. It's the first person, and this is a guy who runs a $10 billion bank. He had his board there. He sat back. He's like, you tell us what to do. I was like, really? All right, let's go. I'm like, I need 100% financing for commercial real estate. Owner, user. He's like, done. All right, cool. I'm going to throw you a hard one. I need to control all the interest rate. Done. So we could offer a commercial real estate, 100% financing, rates as low as prime minus 1.5, so you're looking at a 6% interest rate. All right.
I love the wows, by the way. That is awesome. That is a testament to this is going to work.
I need money to pay my brokers for a referral fee. Done. So you send me $1 million loan, I give you a $10,000 check for a referral fee. All right.
Give me your number.
Yeah. I need to control the underwriting process. Done. La madre, what's this guy, right? And I'm like, so, and I said, I want to control the way we roll this out because we're no longer going to be a piñata. Done. Yeah. So it took me a year, guys, I reached out to NAREP. I actually sent an email to the NAREP email. I was like, I'm ready. That's like, right? Because it took me a year because yo me tenía que ubicar. I wanted to make sure that what this guy was telling me was true, right? And in 1 year, true to his word, he is our biggest advocate from a CEO standpoint. He basically has given me the keys to the bus. He has trust in our community. And he's as excited as I am in being here because even when I was coming here, he's like, hey, so how many new people do we need to hire? I was like, let's see, let's see how good this NAREP reps are, right? But that is the exciting part. So I'm a big reader, so write this down. Differentiate or die. Jack Trout. In a crowded marketplace like you guys are, you got to differentiate yourself, right? Bridging the wealth gap, think about that. From now on, you're no longer just a real estate agent selling residential property. You are what? You're an advocate for the Latino community to help bridge the wealth gap. By what? By providing assets like commercial real estate at 100% financing at rates at prime minus 1.5, and you got my number and you call me. Now you just differentiate yourself from the entire marketplace, right? Number 2, another book, right? That you can read, The Alchemist. Have you guys read that? Very simple book. The premise is if you want something bad enough in this earth, right, the universe will conspire and give it to you, right? So we are only going to fail if we don't dream enough, right? I believe just a winner, simply a dreamer that never gave up. And my God, I love to sleep, so I dream badass, right? So I am telling you guys, this is an opportunity to strike. And like I promise you, I don't make money on deals. I just want to make that clear. Whether you send me $1 or no dollars, yo voy a comer con madre, right? And I say that in full honesty. This is about us coming together, right? And making a mark so that we don't get distracted by the political noise that's out there, that we don't get distracted of what's going on, the stock market's going down, right? Because we're staying focused in what? In helping our community, right? Don't be like my friend calls me up, hey man, the stock market's down. I'm like, dude, you don't even have $1,000 in the market. What do you care about, right? You know, I know, but le gusta nomás el chisme, right? And I'm like, dude, what are you worried about? Stop getting distracted by the noise, right? Focus on what's in front of you. And what's in front of you, it's a freaking opportunity to go kill it, right? So I challenge you on that, guys. And I will give you my cell phone number. I promise you, I will text you. I spent a lot of time on the road, but I will respond, right? And on top of that, I challenge you to invite me to where you are. I could do this presentation. I love to door knock.
Le gusta hablar también,
I
right?
love to talk.
I was with him all day, and he
But more importantly, I love to make money, right? I love to make money
and make other people money.
and make other people money. But more importantly, we all know this. There is no greater feeling when one of your clients sincerely says, gracias.
Let me ask the group here a question real quick. This is for you, not for him. How many of you guys are going to reach out to him? Raise your hand. No, ya deja de. Hold on. No. So I do have just one more question for you. We might wrap up a little bit early, but I really want you to think about this because this is your absolutely very first NARP event, right? We've talked on the phone quite a bit. I've gotten to know him. This is why I had him on here today, because I thought he had a powerful story. I thought he had a story that resonates with all of us, but also it's something that we can aspire to, right? I would love to be 36, 46, retired, traveling the world, living in Hawaii, you know, living the dream. But he's given that up to come back to help create wealth for Latinos across the United States. He believes in the mission of the organization. First event, I want you to give your honest thoughts about the people, the relationships, the experiences that you've had just in these last couple of days.
I think, first of all, I mean, you could tell I'm a fan of us, right? There's nothing better in this world to be Latino.
More noise for that, folks. Somos Latinos.
I would not change it for the world, right? We're a little crazy, right? A little, right? We love to party. We love to work, right? But more importantly, we have one superpower that no one else has, right? Which is we are helpers, right? That's who it is. Sometimes we hope too much, right? But at the end of the day, the way that I feel is I for sure know I could call Derek and be like, hey man, I need some help. And he would do it. I've only met him one day, right? Mi compadre, right? I think when I was here, I think someone said, what the gentleman says, because we're in familia. This was awesome, man. This is like, I got uncles, cousins, you know, primas. And I think that for me, I feel validated that I made the right choice of doubling down in not overextending myself to another organization and choosing this as my vehicle and to help build this ecosystem due to the fact that I am a fan of us. I am a fan of the work that you guys are doing. And I continue to say this. You guys hold the keys to the Ferrari in your pocket, which is the keys to the Latino business community, right? The car is fully gassed. It's in your garage. It's ready to go. Now, if you're scared of driving it, that's on you, right? And guess what? Move over. Because this new generation of Latinos, les vale. They'll get in there, they don't even know how to drive, but they'll turn it on, right? And sorry, it's no longer keys, it's push button, right? So they don't care. And someone said up here, sometimes you just gotta go have the conviction, and right, and you figure out along the way. So in a short note, I am honored to be here. I feel right at home to be part of this community. And the only thing I do challenge you is to call me and be more than glad to help.
Love it. Christian, thank you very much. Please make sure you connect. Thank you, guys.